only be able to get through one thing, I'm guessing. Hey, Jeff McKinney. So my guess is we'll only be able to get through one of the top. Oh, damn. One of the topics from the. Oh my God, this is interesting. So yeah, I think you guys said you were going to stack rank something, but I never saw anything.
Gonna what?
Stack rank from what Facebook gave us, the tavern.
Oh,
That's just a weird term, stack rank. I was going to, but then I didn't.
stack rank. It sounds like what ends up on the bottom of my toilet after a podcast the next morning.
Yeah, that sounds like a super group consisting of members of Slipknot and Puddle of Mud. Stack rank.
Hoobastank.
Okay. Food pairings, we've done things like that before.
I tell you, the order that they're in is reverse of what I think it should be.
Yeah, only cook with what you drink.
I kind of like that one. Cook what you would drink.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing about kin is interesting. That was like Dimitri's thing.
I'm gonna get me some roasted rosemary.
And then I don't know about the 3-tier thing. Like, I don't know.
We talk about that a lot. We rail on that a lot.
Where's Jim Myers when you want to talk about 3-tiered systems?
Okay, so if it's down to pairing food and wine, only cook with what you drink, or will never replace alcohol.
I'm kind of like Chris Wisson's question.
Okay,
I kind of like it. I mean, I don't think we've gone that way before too much in detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I bet you we will have time, and you'll bring up one of the other ones too, Jeff.
Sounds good. So, John.
So, Jeff.
So, if I happen to call on you in last call during the follow us on socials,
you should follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We like drinking one.
That's Twitter.
The Twitter. Sorry. Yes, I know that. I have it written down somewhere.
It's only been, what, 5 years?
Come on. No, 4.5. Give me a break. I need those extra 26 to get it memorized.
Let's see. All right. Are you dropping a beat, or what are you doing there, Solomon?
His mung bean salad is almost done.
This is look at this beer.
Oh, that looks like it's got fruit in it.
You're gonna laugh. All right.
Ooh.
Are we all drinking beer?
We're all drinking beer tonight.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go shut the door. Solomon, do you have the opening written?
No, I don't. Give me a moment. Okay. Let's see here. Talking shit, bro?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Oh, okay. All right. Just check.
I just farted, so it smells like shit in here too.
All right. You got it? No.
No.
I'm not even gonna read it.
That doesn't make sense. Super Voltron. Who are the big guys? Yingling and Sierra Nevada.
I'm scared. Scared to see what you're writing.
Your question.
Questions. That's so funny. His fat fingers hit the wrong buttons. Ha 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 ha.
All right. All right. Are you all done? Can
I look down?
Yeah.
All right.
Can I open the envelope?
Yeah. Can we begin?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else
Oh.
before we get started? Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you call James Hetfield when he officiates a wedding between Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy?
Enter something man.
You call him the pastor of Muppets.
I like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Okay, so now I got this.
Yeah, it would sound better this way. Hey, did you hear Kermit and Miss Piggy actually finally got married? James Hetfield did the ceremony. He was the pastor of Muppets. That would be the better way to say it.
No, I said it the best way possible.
No,
You're wrong.
denied. Dikembe Mutombo. Denied.
All right.
No. Interestingly, he sounds like a Muppet.
Sort of. He sounds like, yeah.
Get out of my kitchen.
All right. You guys set?
I guess.
You got anything else you want to blurt
Yeah.
out before we go?
And another thing.
All right, here we go. I think. Yeah.
This week's episode of the We Like Drinking podcast is brought to you by Wines Till Sold Out. Find out more about their massive selection of fine wines at WTSO.com/WLD. Now, on to the show.
Alexa, play the podcast We Like Drinking.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it?
Do you think John will tell another story?
I don't know, but could we get to it?
Someone needs some smoked whale testicles.
Alexa, just play the show.
Getting the latest episode of We Like Drinking. Here it is in all its glory.
At the sound of the tone, the official We Like Drinking time will be 5 o'clock. Commence consumption.
I'm screaming numbers.
This week on episode 227 of the We Like Drinking podcast, we'll be discussing That thing when your two favorite huge craft breweries form to become one super Voltron monster in an effort to take down, quote, the big guys. And we'll be taking your questions. So crack open your beers, uncork that wine, and let's get drinking.
So who are the big guys? Yingling and Sierra Nevada?
Maybe. There's at least one and, like 11 others that we could be talking about.
Oh, all right.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Hey, folks, let me just say right now, this is the first episode, and I don't know how long that we don't have guests. We don't have a specific thing to drink. Shit's about to get weird.
It's already been weird for the last 25 minutes.
just get ready, folks. We're kind of excited about this episode. But let me just say cheers, my podcast drinking friends, and welcome to episode 227 of the only two-time award-winning topical beer and wine education podcast focusing on the F-U-N.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah.
Thanks. I was worried I was going to mispronounce it if I said it.
Foon.
Was there an umlaut on that?
So, folks, if this is your first time listening, by now you realize that this is just podcast legend.
If this is your first time listening, you've just now realized you're listening to the wrong podcast. What?
No, that's not what happened. What they're saying is I need to subscribe to this show. So stop what you're doing, Jeff.
Yeah, I wasn't even doing nothing.
Okay. Stop what you're doing. Subscribe to the show. If you're not able to, for some reason, go to welikedrinking.com/subscribe, and there'll be a big red button for you to push that'll get you subscribed to the show. So do that.
Push the big red button.
Push the big red button. So let's get into this. Let's find out who we're drinking with and what they're drinking. You've heard their voices. Let's put a name to it. We have our wine blogger, Jeff Solomon.
I'm the only wine blogger focusing on Fjern.
We have our beer brewer, John Ruyak.
Hi, guys. My beer does not have an umlaut in it.
Nice. And I am your host, Jeff Eccles. So let's see what we're drinking. John's chugging. That's about normal. So Jeff, what's in your glass tonight?
Well, I found it only fitting tonight that I drink a can of beer from the Dogfish Head Brewery out of, what's DE on the envelope? Delaware?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I am drinking their Liquid Truth Serum IPA. It's coming in at 7% alcohol by volume, and really big on the can, they're trying to bust myths. So here it says, the myth is that IBUs can only be achieved in the boil, but the truth is that 4 different hop additions added in the whirlpool make this beer truthfully hoppy without being deceptively bitter. It's juicy and it's unfiltered. And actually it is. I mean, it's a little bitter, but way to go, Dogfish Head.
Yeah. It's called 0 minute additions or whirlpool additions. And hey guys, just because it's not boiling, the water's still freaking hot. The wort's still freaking hot. So you get some IBUs. Now it's really subdued. The hopulation's way, way down at that point. But yes, and there's actually been studies that dry hopping can add some IBUs as well.
Yeah. And by the way, 4 different types of hops: whole leaf, liquefied, pelletized, and powdered.
That's different delivery of hops. It's not types.
No, 4 different strains. You've never heard of them. I should have waited until the great pop culture section.
That's my section today, so you can't do that.
Okay.
Oh. Yes, Eccles, what's going on? You seem mystified by something.
He's having a straight up side conversation. Eccles is acting like the ice cream man just like opened up the door. What's going on, bud?
Bobby,
You all
ice
right?
cream man, stop me passing by.
Awesome. John Ruyek, what's in your glass?
I'm drinking our Lizard Tail Tripel, clocking it at a low 9.7 ABV and 22 IBUs.
Oh, good. Good. Make sure you keep on chugging it, Jeff.
I've got a growler of it.
Awesome. So check this. I went with the same route as Solomon and said I should drink either a Dogfish Head or a Sam Adams Night. I went with the Dogfish Head. Can you see this? Can you see this here?
Yeah.
Oh,
I went with the Super 8 Super Goes that we've talked about on the show. I won't bury the lead, Jeff, this time. It's got quinoa in it, plus heroic fruits. Pours a deep, vibrant red with an ample addition of Hawaiian sea salt.
and you can develop film in it.
Develop Super 8 film in it. So
What's a heroic fruit?
I don't know. There's some pretty angry looking. It looks like there's a raspberry. Maybe some.
It's heroic because they're in a film.
There you go.
Come on.
Okay. I just wanted to say something about sea salt. We've got a container of sea salt in the kitchen, and it says that it's sustainably sourced. So I'm kind of like, are we in danger of running out of sea salt? I didn't know that.
The way around, right?
Awesome. So welcome to the show, everybody. Oh, and if I run out of that, I've got this. Check this one out. I've got the Slightly Mighty low calorie IPA from Dogfish Head as well, clocking it at 95 calories and 3.6 carbs.
I'm interested as to why you didn't take anything from the Boston Beer Company's portfolio. Like an Angry Orchard didn't sound delicious to you.
I have one in the refrigerator. I could make that the trifecta to the night if you want me to.
Sure, and maybe a hard seltzer while you're at it too.
Just hit them all.
There you go. All right. Well, we've gotten through that. So now it's time for what is a lot of people's favorite part of the show, which is really a sad statement about our show, but it's time for
wine, beer, or pop culture reference. So, guys, I'm going to ask these two, I'm going to give these guys a term, and they're going to try to guess whether it is a wine term, a beer term, or some sort of odd pop culture reference. So, today's term is rakia. 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 So, let's see. Let's spin the wheel, see who goes first this week. I'm going to go with the Eccles.
Yeah, because Solomon's looking something up on his phone right now.
He better not
Hands
be.
up.
RAKIA.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, I know what this is. This is a pop culture reference. And this is it's funny, because of the merger / acquisition that we're talking about this week. This is comes from when Rokia merged with IKEA and we got Rakia, little known company out of Delaware.
Oh, does it come with instructions on how to put that word together?
Only half of them.
Okay. There you go. So we have a pop culture reference from Eccles. Solomon, what do you think?
I'm gonna say that Rakia is a Scandinavian beer hops variety. Yeah, Rakia. Yeah. Can I just say something?
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
always
you're going to
possible
anyway.
because it seems like in the last like month or so, whenever it's a pop culture reference, it has to do with Game of Thrones. And I don't watch the show, but you know what I am enjoying? Like, you know, the misery on people's faces week after week after week. How awesome is that? That all of you invested 8 years into a show that is just breaking your heart with how bad it is. I don't have to watch it to know that it's bad. And because I never invested any time in it, I'm not forced to do it. You know what I can do instead? I can take care of my kids.
You can watch reruns of Big Brother or The Bachelor.
Fuck you guys.
If you
But
want,
anyways, I'm gonna say I'm saying it's a beer.
okay, that's a beer
Scandinavian
reference.
beer hops variety.
Okay, if you want a show that will break your heart, watch The Tunnel on Amazon Prime.
All right, the Tunnel.
That's that. Yeah. Anyway, 3 seasons, 6 episodes each. Only take you 18 days.
Does it get
more or less.
worse and worse each episode?
Oh, it gets better and better. Actually,
Okay.
Or does it get better and better until the last season when they try to cram everything into 6 fucking
no. It's actually 3 separate stories. Anyway, just check it out. You will not be disappointed. Anyway,
tunnel?
Rakia.
They don't just throw character development to the wind.
No, actually, character development is
fuck
quite
it.
good. And
Sure, now the dragons can do this thing.
all right.
I'm just making it up. I've never even seen the show.
It's a present day drama. Anyway, Rakia is a wine term. It's actually a Bulgarian fruit brandy.
I knew I'd heard of this. I knew
Okay.
this.
Normally, it's about 40% ABV, but if you do it at home, most home varieties crank it up to 50%. Normally, it's made from plums or apricots, sometimes grapes. It's usually colorless, although some people do age it in some oak to add some golden color.
God. You know what? You know who knows about this and where I've heard it before? The Goldarn One Bourbon, One Shard, or One Beer podcast. I know that they've brought that up multiple times. So
There you go.
shout
There you
out,
go.
you jerks.
Rakia.
Well done, John.
Thank you.
Way to go.
I was going to go with Mueller Thurgau, but I think we've done that before.
We've done that one. So
I thought so. I didn't want to do that 2 times in a row.
this Super 8 it's pretty good.
Yeah, you liking it?
It gets the salivary glands cooking a little bit. So I gotta be careful, cautious on when I take a drink tonight.
Too much quinoa. It's pretty extreme, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Do you think like you're in Peru or something now?
Totally. And what is? Never mind. All right. And now, a word from our sponsors. You've heard us talking about wines till sold out for a couple months now, but have you signed up yet? If you have, you've come to realize that WTSO offers a wide range of wines at great pricing. However, you may be signed up and, well, you know, life happens. So maybe you missed a deal that you would have loved to get your hands on. I know Jeff and I have talked about that happening at least a couple times on the show. Did you know that you can set up your account so that you only receive 1 email a day, and that email lists all the wines that will go on sale that day? That's right. You have the power to see into the future, like Brandon Stark. Find a wine you like that day, set up a notification for when the wine goes on sale so you can grab it before it's gone. Visit WTSO.com/WLD and check out the notifications option on the bottom of the screen to become a wine psychic and never miss a wine you want again. And don't forget to use code WLD2019 when you check out to get an additional savings off your order. Now, back to the show.
You know what, Jeff? That
What's
was a great job.
Did you like that one, Jeff Sullivan?
Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that. All right. What do we got? We're here. Oh my goodness, we're already to this. So, The ticker tape is ticking. It must be Booze News, where we discuss interesting, noteworthy, or sometimes some pretty stupid things, but not tonight. My goodness. Last week, literally moments after we hit stop recording, I think they timed this.
Yeah, they didn't want us jumping the gun.
Yeah, they didn't want us jumping the shark on this one. There was the announcement, maybe the biggest announcement in the beer world this year, that Dogfish Head Brewing and Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams, were merging. This is like a $300 million merger. All kinds of cool stuff going on with this. Sam from Dogfish Head is going to be on the board of Boston Beer Company. I'm sure you've read a lot about this. I just want to get right to it and talk to these guys about what this means. So some of the fun and interesting stuff that I got out of this, I think we talked about it. Sam Adams, the number 2 brewery, size-wise, craft brewery. Dogfish Head, 13th largest. So they still will not be the number 1 brewer after this is done. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this? I'm going to hold off on everything I'm thinking. John, let's jump to you first to talk specifically about the merger, and then maybe we can talk about the state of craft beer afterwards.
My thoughts on the merger is, kind of shocking. It seems that Dogfish Head was carving its market persona in some not out there beers, but things that are kind of closer to the edge than a lot of other offerings. You got that Thelonious product that was, had, some interesting flavors in it. The Goja that you're drinking, a light IPA, which, whatever. I mean, what are you trying to do there?
Right.
But it always seemed like they were really trying to, I don't want to say go to the bleeding edge, but push themselves pretty close towards the edge of popular craft beer acceptance as far as different flavors go. To me,
if somebody's not familiar with them, really they made their brand on IPAs, right?
Right. 60-minute, 90-minute, 120 is over the top for me. It's not very enjoyable. That's, like 15% ABV, just like way too. But, the 90 minutes, the 60 and 90 minute are classics.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute classics. 5-star world class beers. No, hands down, no question.
And they've moved into sours now. They're pushing sours, and then they're starting really push a barrel age program as well, right?
Right. So, and then Sam Adams is, they've kind of been a little staid. Really, how else do you put it? But like a mass marketed craft brewery that, they taste big. You know what I'm saying? You open it, you open a beer, you pour it, and you just kind of know that you're tasting a beer from a bigger company that makes a lot of beer. Have you noticed that? I mean, there's some breweries here in town in Albuquerque. I won't name names, but when you have one of their products now, it just tastes big now.
Okay.
It's hard to put your finger on it, but I think most people would understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's the scales have tipped towards commercialization, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And Sam Adams has been there for a long time. And for the longest time, people have been saying Sam Adams really needs kind of a new view on things, and we talked about this, about 80, 90 episodes ago, about a year and a half ago. We had the same conversation on the show about, has Sam Adams lost a step? And I think everybody would agree with that. So to think that these two guys would meet in this situation is a little bit odd. These big guys, they talk all the time. I'm sure, Calagione has been talking to, what Jim Cook for, just probably calls him once a month just to say hi. But for this kind of seems out of the blue to me. And I kind of get it. We talked about this when grain prices went up. Remember, I made the comment that this is going to hit the middle tier guys the hardest, the guys that are packaging, because margins are small.
Mhm.
And, so I don't want to say this is a desperation move, but I think it's a move on the part of Dogfish Head to remain profitable.
Wow.
Frankly, yeah, I really do think I think that's where it's at. And there's reasons for that, but I'll let it go around the table, and then we can talk about this. My thoughts on that after that.
Interesting take, Jeff Solomon.
It's interesting to me that you brought up this idea of Sam Adams tasting big, and I maybe want to take that taste out a little bit further. Even without the beer in your glass, the brand, it hasn't felt craft in a long time, and on some level, maybe it never really had felt craft, like part of the real like craft beer movement, because they do like some one-off IPAs every once in a while and stuff like that, but really it's Sam is just that one recipe. And then you look at the portfolio of the Boston Beer Company, and really their big money makers are Angry Orchard, Twisted Tea, Truly Hard Seltzer, and they've had the shelf space the whole time. In the same respect, when I think about Dogfish Head, like as much as they push the limits, I do have to say that's a brand to me that has also felt stale for a while. Like even when I looked at this, and this is a beer that I'm having for the first time ever, I've got to tell you that this liquid truth serum from Dogfish Head, it's not blowing me away. It's not amazing me in any sense. It's a fucking tropical IPA, and I don't know. So I guess on some level it makes sense. I don't think that the brand for either of them are tainted. I know that there's some folks that are hardcore Dogfish Head fans that are pretty upset by this, and they're feeling like it's the death of Dogfish Head. I might think for Dogfish Head, like John's saying, maybe it's breathing a little life into them. I also think that the merger does make sense in the idea that, Sam Adams doesn't really come across as an innovator anymore. So here you've got a portfolio that really is pushing the edge there. I guess the thing is, like, I don't know how much that really changes when these two big breweries, they merge together. I don't see them eating up a whole bunch of other shelf space. That's shelf space that was already taken. So it almost seems like a neutral move more than anything else. What am I? I'm just a guy with an opinion. You know what I'm saying? These are two grocery store beer brands. Sorry, Dogfish Head lovers. It's a grocery store beer brand. And that's only going to take you so far,
Wow. I okay. All right.
Yeah, I want to go back to that, but Eccles,
I think this is just kind of a genius move on both their parts. Sam Adams, and we did talk about it. They were declining in sales, and they continue to decline in their beer sales. And they tried, I think, Jeff, you just brought up, they tried doing an IPA. They tried doing some stuff, and it just didn't work because Sam Adams is Sam Adams, right? I mean, Sam Adams is, or Boston Beer Company is Sam Adams Lager. And so they did other things. They've got their hard seltzer, they've got their cider, they've got all that stuff that's really helping them financially, right? But their core is beer, and they're doing well, obviously, but they're not doing as well. Dogfish Head, they have great distribution, but They're not going to be able to really get much more distribution if they stayed where they were. Now they have national distribution potential with their 60 and 90-minute IPA. And I tell you what, like the biggest joy to me of this is that restaurants I go to now that carry Sam Adams and have no IPAs and no decent beer that I want to drink will probably now start having Dogfish Head on tap. Airports, all these places where you see Sam Adams but don't drink it. Now there is a world-class, as John said, IPA available. Shelf space, you've got IPA, you're probably Sam Adams can sink a little bit because they've got Dogfish Head coming in. Dogfish Head gets a huge monetary influx to work on their barrel program, to work on their sours. They get to continue to innovate with the money they need. These are two very complementary companies that are coming together. And I think it's a great move from a business perspective for them. Additionally, these are two legends in the community that are on the same board of directors now, starting in next year in 2020. And so these two that have been, John, I think you may or may not agree, I don't know, but they have been very much bring craft beer along as they've risen up.
Particularly Sam Adams, yes.
And they now are in a room together coming up with ideas. I think this can add some vision to the company overall. And so I just see nothing but really good things coming out of this. I'm surprised you guys are so down on it.
I'm not. I would
Am
say
I
I'm
down on the move? I just think I think it's a neutral move. I guess my thing is I was surprised how I guess I was surprised how I was getting the impression from folks that they were upset, like, oh no, this is ruining craft beer or something. It's like, I think it has no impact on the rest of the craft beer community. And yeah, it's a slightly positive move for them, and that's fine. I guess I'm not. I don't think it's the end of the world, and I don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread either.
To Eccles' point, yes, and I think I made the point as well that it's I think it infuses new blood, new ideas into Sam Adams. And let's face it, Sam Adams, I see it at Total Wines, I see it at Smith's. I don't see it at Kelly's. I don't see it at Jubilation Liquors, except maybe their Rebel IPA or their, that thing that's like 40% alcohol, that weird thing that they do.
Yeah.
And Dogfish Head, same way. And to Solomon's point, grocery store beer brands, they really, you don't see it. And that's, those companies are going for volume because their margins are so small. You think about it, for us at Lizard Tail, we do nothing but retail pints and growlers at a discount. I mean, most of our pints are $5, some are $6. Growlers are $14 to $18. You get a nice discount. Can't drink it there. You got to take it home. It's retail, right? Well, I mean, profitability is okay, but it's, you wouldn't believe what kind of hands come out of the woodwork grabbing at your money when you produce alcohol. But think about this. We use middle tier brewers. Now they have sales forces, they have delivery trucks, they've got, they've got to get their product from the brewery to the distribution place. I mean, margins are small for that. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I think this is a retained profitability move for Dogfish Head, because now they're in 50 states as opposed to 34 they were before. I think they had distribution in 34 states. I think I read in the article.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't 50 states.
Yep.
Now they've got markets opened up for them, and so now 60 minute, 90 minutes going to be in all the grocery stores and Total Wines in those other 16 states, right? So that helps them out a lot. that you got volume buying discounts, contracts. I mean, and when you're talking about a half a cent per pound on the cost of barley, when you're using 80 million pounds of barley a year, that's a lot of money. So I think it's a good move for both of them. It's shocking. Are there tumblers going through the craft beer community because of this? No.
I think it did surprise a lot of people. It surprised me. I was like, wait, what? I was surprised by it.
Yeah, it was like, whoa. Yeah, that just kind of, yeah. But I think there's some synergies there.
Okay. All right. And look at 2/3 of our panel went and bought Dogfish Head for tonight's show.
And the move is to hyper local, right? This is why I'm drinking the beer that I actually made, right?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, and that is a whole nother topic of discussion too, right? The regional versus the locals, and if one of our tavern, is it Jeremy?
Probably Jeremy.
And he said something to the effect of, God, do you remember what he said? I'll edit this part out. Do you remember what he said, Jeff?
No. Was it in the discussion?
Do I need to go back?
Was it about local beer or?
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of our tavern folks, Jeremy, said something to the effect of, is craft beer anymore is this what it is now, where if you start up a brewery in the hopes of like Silicon Valley to get big enough to be bought? And I sure do not think that's the way it is anymore.
I think it was 4 years ago.
Yep.
People were looking to cash in, but that boat sailed.
Yep, I think so. I don't think you could start one and get large enough to be bought anymore. I think now you got to be hyper local, and we've talked about that, John. You've been a champion of that for a while now.
Yep, buy local beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go down the street.
That's interesting.
Or drive to Albuquerque and visit Lizard Town.
You bring up that thing about trying to get big enough to get bought out. I think that was our buddy C of the Beatdown podcast, which I miss. I remember him being really upset with St. Archer because he felt like that was their plan the whole time. Like, start this brewery in San Diego, get big, sell out, and then just be done with it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that. Yeah.
That whole thing is so cynical. I mean, God, I beat myself up every day to make the best beer I possibly can. I just never think about doing it just to, hope that Dan thinks of me when he sells it to a bigger place. I mean, it never crosses my mind. It's not why 96% of people do it. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, do y'all have I guess none of us get the same vibes when you think about Oscar Blues and Cigar City and the Canarchy program that they're doing. Like,
sweet child,
how do you feel?
What? Ow, Guns and Rose. Anyway, no, that's a different collaborate. That's a consortium kind of thing. I mean, that feels different to me.
Is it really because they were just a little bit smaller to begin with?
No, it just feels different.
Because they're cooler.
Well, yeah. Yeah. They've been on our show. Sam Adams never been on our show.
It doesn't taste like a big beer either.
Yeah.
Come on, don't make fun of me. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Jim Koch, come on our show, and Sam Caglione come on our show, and then we'll probably hype you up more.
let's say this. I mean, Sam Adams, as you said, has been, and so is Dogfish Head, as you said, they've been trying to bring people along. And there's a place here in Albuquerque, Bosque Brewing, that actually got some seed money from Sam Adams to expand, and they've done very, very well.
Awesome.
They're
Yeah.
good beer.
And helped out with ingredients and all kinds of stuff. So.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent talk. So usually, about this time we may get into a second news story, but we're twisting things up a little bit. And we went to the tavern. We busted through the door of the tavern and said, "Who's got a question or who's got a topic that we want to talk about?" And we got some great questions that came in. So we're going to see how many of these we can get through. But Chris W., he writes, only cook with what you would drink, unquote. I typically follow that rule for marinade and sauces, but ignore when the wine is going to spend 3 hours in the oven making meat tasty. So is that a stupid rule? Is it a smart idea? Or when does it make sense and when not? Go ahead, John.
So for me, typically with reds, it's because of a tannin issue, right? So that's kind of like cooking with bitter beer. You don't want to cook with IPAs. You don't want to reduce an IPA and just jack those IBUs up and make things taste like crap. Tannins are the same issue. If there's a white wine that for some reason we don't like, or maybe it's that, for whatever, life happens, sits around on the counter for a week and you just never get around to finishing it, I use it to deglaze. So if you're stir frying or something like that with vegetables or fish or chicken or something like that, why buy a bottle of $1.29 white cooking wine at the grocery store when you can just stopper it and use it to deglaze your pan?
Okay.
And it adds a little, particularly white wines, adds a lot of aromatics to your vegetables and shrimp in particular. So
there you go. Jeff?
I guess my thing is, when I think about this concept of only cooking with what you would drink, I guess what makes sense to me is like, how much wine are you jerks putting in your food to begin with? Where it's like, I could open up any bottle of wine that I have around the house as a wine that I'm intending to drink. And if I happen to be cooking something that needs some wine, I have no problem opening up anything, drinking it, and pouring a splash of wine to deglaze if I needed to. If you're reading some sort of like Betty Crocker cookbook where they're asking for like 3 cups of wine, I think you need like a new cookbook to be working with. I guess that would be my thing. And I would also say, like, be mindful. Go out of your way to not ever buy a wine that is being marketed as a cooking wine, which I have actually seen before. Do not ever buy a wine that says cooking wine on it. Just buy some wine that you like and pour a little splash in there. I have no problem with that, Chris. I'm just wondering, like, and how much wine are they asking you to use, man? Well, if you gotta,
I think where this came from was they had a bottle that they tasted and they're like, yuck, I don't like this wine. And so, but if the rule is cook with wine that you want to drink, what do you do with that bottle of wine that you don't like the flavor of, or you don't like the taste of?
Yeah, I mean, if you really don't like the taste of it, I wouldn't add it to my food. It just it seems counterintuitive, like there's not an ingredient that I use when I'm cooking where I taste it by itself and I go, oh, this is horrible, I better add it to something else. If something tastes horrible, it's not touching what I'm gonna eat. And honestly, like, I know that wine can be expensive, but shit, man, like that just comes with the territory. If you open up a wine that is flawed, like, why would you ever add that to your food? Now, if you open up a wine that you're just not that into it, yeah, go ahead and cook with it. But also, I'm not a fan of folks that just have a bottle of wine that's sitting on their countertop for like months with the cork in half open. And they're like, I just use this as my cooking wine. Like, nah, dude, just no, dump it.
Yeah.
When you need to cook with wine, open up a bottle, drink what you like, as Jeff Eccles always says, and
Solid.
and use a splash or whatever in your food too.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jeff Solomon. Like, I don't know why we have this alcohol abuse mantra of, if you don't like the wine, it's okay to dump it. Like, it's okay to pour it out. You will survive.
I'm gonna save this.
Yeah,
I bet you know what? People who do that are also the same folks that, like, you save gift bags. You're like, I can reuse these. And next thing you know, like, you open up their closet and just like you're getting rained on with gift bags that are never going to be used again.
That said, I will say though that Croatian Zinfandel that I opened last week that I did not enjoy at all on the show, it really improved over a couple days.
Nice.
So it became Zinfandel rather than wine that came in the mail.
Yeah, nice. And to Chris's point, I do agree. There's a difference in what you use to like flavor a meat, to cook with a meat or to bake for hours, or what you're using like in a saute or something like that. And that goes for beer as well. Like, if you're going to cook bratwurst, don't use Miller Lite. Like, unless you're just going to cook it and then pull it out while it's still heavy liquid. But let me give you a little secret about cooking brats. You use like a Guinness or like a Tommyknocker maple nut brown or something like that, and you cook it in that beer and you let it boil down till it's just like syrup, and then you throw it on the grill, you're into the best brat of your life. I'm telling you that right now.
I've got some brats in the freezer, man. I feel like I gotta go cook some right now.
I am telling like John, do that. Like, get a good stout or a darker beer and just boil it and boil it and boil it, and it'll get like syrup at the end, and just drizzle, like, take it out of the pan and drizzle it on those brats when you grill it. So good. All right.
Makes me want to go to the ballpark and get a Sheboygan.
All right. Let's see. We've been going for about 40 minutes. Maybe we get through one more. Do you guys have anything else on that one?
Nah.
All right. Let's see. Let's go with Dimitri's question next. So Dimitri asks, he's in an airport right now. Hi, Dimitri, in the airport. The ridiculous thing, and others like it, that think that they can replace alcohol and cannabis. Alcohol has been around for a millennia. Can it ever be replaced? And this is speaking specifically to some drink that gets you like euphorically high.
Because it has roasted rosemary in it or something like that.
Well, that was the mixed drink that they were making, but it's some kind of chemical.
Yeah. So Dimitri was sharing this article about this branded nootropic herbal drink that you could have instead of drinking alcohol, or you could have instead of smoking the ganja. And it was really weird. I think what was interesting is if I'm talking about just this kin thing that Dimitri was talking about, like that whole like herbal drink, it just sounded like a whole bunch of bullshit,
I totally want to try it though.
The lady who wrote the article said this is bullshit.
Yeah, but then like,
but then she was on it while she was writing the article too, so it got a little.
However, I was thinking about how we were having a conversation with our friend April Wachtel, who has many a business going on, along with Swig and Swallow drink mixers, which I think they're going through a brand name change pretty soon. But she also is entertaining, doing like CBD beverages as well. And one of the things she was talking about is that, CBD is not psychoactive at all. And really what it is just giving somebody else another option aside from going out to a bar and drinking alcohol, or aside from smoking the reefer. That you could have something else like in a social setting. And I think that that's really the goal with like that kin beverage that Dimitri was bringing up. And I think that's fair to say like, hey, can we have more options for people in a social setting where they can feel like they're part of this ritual that we all go through in terms of like going out and getting some drinks, but not getting intoxicated. I don't like this whole thing of pitching like, oh, it'll make you like super blissful or whatever. Like, I think that's garbage, but like, how about just making like really nice non-alcoholic beverages for folks when they just don't feel like drinking? And I've had more and more of an occasion like that as of late. I don't know if I said it on the big show. I know I said it on the after party, but we're expecting our third child. And so I'm not drinking nearly as much when I'm hanging out with my wife because I don't want her to feel left out. But like sometimes we're sitting there and we're like at a restaurant and we're like, tonic water with lime. This is fantastic. Like, I wish there was something else. So I think it's fair to say that people do want options aside from alcohol or the marijuana when they're hanging out. I don't know what that option should be. I think really there needs to be better non-alcoholic options and mixers. Non-alcoholic beer tastes like garbage. Lagunitas makes that really nice hoppy water. Most mocktails are too sweet. Like, I don't know. What is there? What is there for folks? That's what I'm wondering.
So to Dimitri,
maybe there's some
to Dimitri's question.
So to Dimitri's question, can alcohol ever be replaced, Jeff Solomon? Now that you gave us the 7-minute whatever that was, can alcohol ever be replaced, to answer Dimitri's question from you?
There are times when it needs to be replaced.
Okay, that still doesn't answer the question. But
it won't be. No, alcohol will never be replaced. But there are times when there should be other options, like kin. Sometimes I need a euphoric, blissful herbal experience.
Podcast starring Jeff Solomon, who takes 7 minutes to answer no.
Is that like Greg Kinn? Well, what song did Greg Kinn sing way back in the 80s?
I don't know.
John Ruyak.
No, I to Solomon's point, yes. Should it be replaced with certain things? But it's only in the issue of abstinence, right? It's not an issue of something be a substitute for it, but rather something that is done besides. Correct?
Yeah.
So no, I think we are too biologically linked to C6H12O6 to make it completely just go somewhere else. I mean, we had the history of drunkenness guy on, and Mike Forsyth, we evolved to accept those things into our system. Now, higher amounts of it are not healthy, folks. We promote responsible consumption, but it is just, how do you? But it's hard to change the biology of something that's been happening for tens of thousands of years. I mean, customs are one thing, vocabulary is one thing, but something that's a biological issue is something that's going to take millennia to change.
Yeah, I mean, I could see a day where alcohol was replaced, but it will not be anywhere close to our or the next 4 generations' lifetime. I think if we become a spacefaring species, at that point, we may see it go by the wayside, unless we've got the replicators that can replicate it from like they do in Star Trek. But
yeah, push a button, get your filet mignon.
Yeah. I other than that, I don't see it unless there's a major
no, wait a minute. We've been a spacefaring species for a long time, especially back in the 60s. We had Star Trek, and you can't tell me Tranya is an alcoholic.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Hey guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have something else there?
No.
What else? Okay. All right. Hey guys, we have a new, should I say new? Maybe I shouldn't say new. We have a new podcast review.
Yeah.
It's actually not new. More of it's an update. So Whale Tate Johnson, one of our favorite listeners, still says that he loves me this podcast and still gives it 5 stars. He says, I feel like I'm hanging out with my drinking buddies every time I listen. Love the show. You should trust me on this one. I have exquisite taste. After all, I named myself Whale Tate Johnson. So thank you for updating your review, Whale Tate Johnson. We appreciate you coming back and letting us know such exquisite taste. WTJ. Okay. All right. Well, if we're talking about Whale Tate Johnson and the end of alcohol, it must, for the love of all that's drinkable, be
Last call.
Last call.
last call. Time to clean house and apparently launch ourselves into space. So you know what we do here? We're looking to get your help promoting the show. So follow us on the socials. We're on Twitter at We Like Drinking 1. That's the number 1. Instagram and Facebook at We Like Drinking, or join our private group on Facebook known as The Tavern by visiting welikedrinking.com/tavern to join. Jeff Solomon, if the good folks want to leave us a review like Whale Tate Johnson, where can they go to do that?
Well, I think Whale Tate Johnson only exists in the Apple Podcast, and you should too. So go ahead and scroll down and poke and leave a big fat 5-star review. Let us know if there was a particular episode that you enjoyed. Share our podcast with a friend. Man, thank you so much, Whale Tate Johnson. You made my night.
That was awesome.
That's right. And so, John, if the good people are itching to give us some money, how can they do that?
Well, visit welikedrinking.com/pledge and find out more information about becoming a patron of the show and help us out. Press that big red button.
Yep, lots of fun on the Patreon site. And honestly, we're looking to expand what we're doing there. I'm excited about some of the stuff that's coming up. Jeff Solomon has been working so hard on something new that's coming to the Patreon, and he just gave us a release of it this week. And man, it looks electric, Jeff Solomon. I am excited about that.
It looked great, and then I ran out of storage on my phone, so I couldn't complete my assignment. But I'll see what I can do.
I wondered why it shut off halfway through you saying You can also find the show notes for this episode with all the links to the stories or mentions we had at welikedrinking.com/episodes. Or if you're on your phone, as Jeff mentioned, diddle around on it till a while to see some empty stars and then poke it and give us 5. Yeah, guys, good show. But now we've reached the time where I get to say, okay, panel, let's take one last trip around this table and get some final thoughts before we shut off the lights. John Ruyak.
Well, I give you guys a choice: Rush or Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath.
Sabbath.
Don't try to reach me because I'll tear up your mind. I've seen the future and I've left it behind. Ozzy Osbourne, 1971.
This episode, geez. Jeff Solomon.
I don't know. Eccles said this was a good show. It wasn't just a good show. It was a great show. It was an excellent show. It was downright fune.
And with that, I'll say thanks again for joining us at the We Like Drinking podcast.
Where you'll never drink alone.
Fune, is that an umlaut?
Thanks, guys. I had a lot of fune.
Ding 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 ding. Bow.